Hello, this is Ryan with RyanR407. I'm going to introduce ezMES, which is a manufacturing execution system I made for a small business. And what it allows you to do is create routers that you use in work orders to keep track of your parts as they're manufactured, where they're at, what issues come up with them, any kind of information you'd like to collect, you can do it through this app. So I'm just going to dive right in and start with the router system. So there's several different routers here, and it'll either be in editing or release mode, and it'll keep track of the revision of it. So every time you release it, this router revision will tick up by one. So let's just go into one that we're editing. So inside of here, you can add instructions and some information, so you can give it a description so you can easily find it. You can assign it to a program so that it's used for certain products rather than for any product. You create a part number that you set it up with. So I'll go into that as well. So the part numbering system, there's parts and assemblies. A part is just has some information about it. So a description, what type, and you could add more if you want. And we either track it with serial number or lot number, or you can do both. So there's flexibility there. And then the assemblies actually have part numbers associated with it, so you can add the other part numbers that you created in here and pick a quantity for it, and it'll create an assembly. And you can track these with serial and or lot number as well. So what you do is you'll assign one of those assemblies most likely. I mean, you could do it for a part as well, but most likely an assembly. You'll set that up in here, give it some information, then you can add operations. So I'm not going to go into doing the whole addition of an operation, but what we can do is look at an existing one. So if we go in here and pick one of these, an operation will have a number, which you want to put these in sequential order. So definitely number these accordingly. You can have a work center assigned to it, which is where the work's done, so you can keep track of what's going on with the work center and get data from that as well. You have an operation name, you pick whatever previous operations are before it. So when you pick a previous operation, that's how you link it on the route that we just looked at. So if we're looking here, you pick the previous operation. So like for 20, you would pick 10. For 30 and 40, you would pick 20, and that's what kind of creates this shape. So that's what you pick there. You pick an estimated time, and you can change these over time because what you want to do is you want to keep track of how long it takes. There's data collection, so you can go in here and collect any kind of information you want, and there's also units assigned to those so that they know which what exactly to collect. There's part collections, which when you set up the part number for this route, which is this part number right here, there's three parts that we assigned to that, which are these three with these quantities, and then obviously it'll pick the revision and all that. Then you can pick what roles can buy off this operation. So right now, the only person that can do this is a fab shop technician here, which is why we have the buy off role here. So a router just consists of multiple operations like the one I just showed you, and the instructions that you can put for the entire route. And then what you do is you can go create work orders from that that'll always work the same, get the same information, same part collections, everything you need. So let's just look at one of them right here. So right here you can select, well, this one's already completed. Let's go to one that's not completed. So this one, you can go in here and you can select the operations that you want to select. You can select the serial numbers that you want to work on. So if you're only working on one, you just select the one. You don't need to be doing both at the same time. So you can also edit the work order, and the way that works is if you go in here and edit the work order, it's like that router system that you just saw. But if any of these part numbers or these serial numbers have been bought off on an operation, then you can't change the history of it. So you would have to like cancel it for that. You have to like work through the one and cancel the work order, or just cancel the work order and create a new one because you can't remove the traceability of things that have been done. There's also holds. You can go in here, you can create a hold on this, whether you want to. So if you hit create hold here, you can do it on the whole work order, an operation, or just an individual serial number. So you can go in here and you could select the serial number, but since none of them have been done yet, they haven't been started yet, it doesn't even show them here. So let's go back to the work order we were just looking at. So you can see the bill of materials. So that So for the part number that you're working on, which is this part number, you can go in here and click Bill of Materials and you can see the parts that make it up. You can go back to the work order here. You can see the work order history. So anything that's been done on the work order, it'll show you. We haven't done anything yet, but you can see all of the data collections, part collections, and buy-offs done for this. You can also see where all the parts are currently. So the serial numbers are both at operation 10. And then you can obviously go back to the work order. You work through here. So since there's two part numbers selected, or serial numbers selected, I mean, it's trying to get the same information twice, which are just these 4 fields. And the part collection, same thing. So it wants to collect several different parts. So it's asking you for all the serial numbers and lot numbers for those. And then you can do a buy off as well. If you try to buy off when things aren't done, it'll actually tell you like everything needs to be completed before you can move on. So other than that, we'll go into the admin panel real quick. So in the admin panel, you can manage all the users here. You can manage what different roles they have. So there's some basic roles, like these ones here, like the technician style roles, and then there's also all the background roles that you can assign to them. So like when you go and pick what roles can buy things off in the routes, that's not going to show all the roles because a lot of these roles are background roles that you would want to assign through here. You wouldn't want a create issues role to be a buy off on a fab shop job. So you can go through here and you can see the different things. So there's different programs, there's sales orders, work orders. You can go in here and manage the information that goes into them. Um, that can all be done manually here, just in case something was done wrong or whatever, and you need to override it somehow. You can do it here. Another thing to mention is that any time that you do any kind of data collection, buy off, or part collection, it's kept in history, and you can actually go in here and look at the history of it and see every time it's been changed too. So even if you do that through the admin panel, anytime you change a buy off or something, it automatically keeps track of that. So that's something that is done at the database level when there's anytime there's a entry into it when you commit. And that's pretty much everything. Thank you for listening.